And away we go. Alright, let's see what me, Eric, or Risk have sent in our podcast group chat. Looking at whatever goes on in today's world. And no, apparently there aren't anything new. Alright then. So there hasn't been anything new since the last time a podcast episode was recorded. So, with that all being said, let's just get right into the news. Iceland resumes whale hunt with lower quotas as ban bill looms. One of Iceland's two remaining whaling ships set out for the port of Reykjavik on Friday, after a 2-year hiatus, resuming hunts for fin whales, following economic pressures that had halted operations in 2024 and 2025. The Institute set a 2026 quota of 150 fin whales, a 28% drop from prior recommendations, as Iceland had cancelled hunts in 2024 and 2025 when economic woes reduced demand and industry profitability. Protester Ha chained himself to the mast of the Val 9 before departure and said he broke down when he realized the vessel was actually sailing to sea instead of turning around. Joanna Swab of the Humane World and Animals NGO called the departure disheartening, telling AFP that these ocean giants will very likely endure an agonizing death for meat that virtually no one in Iceland wants to eat. Iceland remains one of only 3 countries, alongside Norway and Japan, that openly permit whaling, though the government is due to table a bill on banning whaling altogether within months. Of course, it's all the works of nature. Not the killing, it's just the existence of the whales, which a lot of people feel so strongly about. And actually, I agree with this. Even when we need to get food on the table and feed our families, there is a price to pay when you hunt down animals, so much so to the point that they're on the verge of extinction. And that's what we got to be careful with. I get it, we need to put food on the table. Yet if you keep hunting down the same species of animals without allowing room for breeding and reproduction, then what are you going to eat? What food will there be remaining? Surely this isn't the first time a discussion like this has happened or been brought up. So, whatever happens in the Icelandic government, only time will tell if there's any proposals to ensure that whaling is just prohibited altogether, or it continues at a very minimal quota. Who knows? BBC has no plans to air Ashley Kane TV series after sexist language claims. On Thursday, the BBC announced it has no plans to broadcast the new series of Into the Dangerzone following reports of historical misogynistic social media posts by presenter Ashley Kane. The Guardian reported on Wednesday that Kane allegedly used abusive language, including terms like slags and sluts, in social media posts shared between 2011 and 2015. A BBC spokesperson stated the broadcaster's social media vetting process clearly failed, adding that posts by Kane are completely unacceptable. The broadcaster confirmed no future projects with Kane, though the first series of Into the Dangerzone remains available on BBC iPlayer. BBC officials are investigating why vetting systems failed and are continuing to strengthen our processes to ensure all contributors meet the network's values and standards. Honestly, I'm not even surprised or shocked. And as respected the BBC is to a lot of people in the UK and even the world, every broadcaster, entity, company, corporation, and other organizations, they're gonna have their faults, they're gonna have their flaws, and they will continue to make mistakes, no matter how hard they say they'll try to address the issues at hand. And even with these controversies and scandals, they will continue to operate regardless. Not because there aren't people that care all too much about stories like this. They're simply too big for anyone that's using their service to switch over to another provider. If you have a massive share in any sector, then no matter the scandal or controversy, they will continue to operate and they will continue to provide the service to their consumers, their viewers, clients, and whatever else you call people that use your service and goods and whatnot. So, in regards to the story itself, Ashley Kane, misogynistic social media posts, it needs to be asked, whatever happened back in those days? Why go to such lengths to call people as such? I'm not defending the individual. I feel like there's more to this than besides saying that, oh, this woman is that thing and a woman is this thing is awful. I feel like there's more to this. And besides, every celebrity makes their mistakes. They say stuff that they will regret later on. What I would say is, why would you say what you have said in the first place? Why would you say the things that would infuriate people? And even when there is legitimate concern, and everyone has every right to call out such behaviour like this, how is it that this has been called out now? Surely, maybe not many people knew about that at the time, or maybe it it was made aware of, just not many people made a fuss about it, and then someone just stumbled across many years old posts and realised, oh, how dare they? How dare he say such things? And that's understandable. Yet it's still important nonetheless. As valid these concerns are, how is it these are being brought up now? What would happen if someone brought this up sooner, like a couple years ago, like maybe after 2015, and certainly before maybe 2020, the start of the 2020s? Would everyone have the same reaction to this story? Or what would happen if these weren't even brought up at all? Would Ashley Kane continue to do his work for the BBC? Timing is everything, and it can make a difference. Now, I will not say that an apology would be all good and resolves everything. No, no, no. It is at least a start. It is a good start. Iran fans gather at Tijuana hotel as team faces visa limits. On Sunday, the Iranian national soccer football team prepares for a noon match against Belgium, while stationed at a barricaded hotel in Tijuana, Mexico, less than 150 miles from Los Angeles World Cup Stadium. Forced by the outbreak of war, the Iranian team relocated its base from Tucson, Arizona to Tijuana after the US denied visas to 11 team officials and mandated immediate post-game departures. Despite the barricades, supporters from Los Angeles, Miami, and San Jose gathered at the hotel, located 4 miles from the border, to encourage the squad before their second group stage match. Abbas Eftekhari, who has lived in America for more than 40 years, said technical difficulties are going to drain them psychologically and also physically. Negative fan interactions compound the pressure. Hidayat Mabaini, Secretary General of the Iranian Soccer Football Federation, said Friday that football shouldn't lose its power to politics, adding the restrictions negatively affect the team working to overcome problems with Iranian pride. It is quite a shame that people from Iran, had came all the way to the United States, Canada, or Mexico to watch their team play in the World Cup, only for their visas into the United States to be denied because whether it be the nation being in the travel ban list, or in this case specifically the war that's still going on in the nation, it's very complicated. Not just for the safety of other people, also it's also a concern about allowing people who come over to your country to enjoy the beauty, the attractions, and all the sights that your nation has to offer. And whilst every immigration policy and measures must be followed as strictly as possible, there is something that really is on my mind and something related to this. I've heard a while ago that in the last few World Cups, that even though countries have particular travel bans or limitations of entry to the nation by people of other countries, meaning they have to require getting a visa, and the visa process in itself varies depending on the background of the individual and the state of what their country's in right now. In the past, FIFA has said, no, I ask you that you lift all these restrictions on these people, allow them to come to your country to enjoy the World Cup, and only specifically for the World Cup. Fair enough, that's understandable. Besides, the reason why they even come to that country in the first place is in the event they are hosting a world-renowned event, like the FIFA World Cup. And that was the case especially in Russia 2018 and Qatar 2022. Yet somehow, this year, 2026, across US, Canada, and Mexico, FIFA said, it's down to the country. If that country says your people are not allowed in, they're not allowed in. Why? What happened all those years ago when you said you should allow people from that country or this country coming into the host nation of the FIFA World Cup? Why now are you saying that entry to a host nation is down to the laws of that country's immigration policies and framework? If this was any other country hosting this year, I don't think this would be the case. FIFA would still say that you should allow people from other countries to come to the host nation of the FIFA World Cup for that year, regardless of travel limitations, restrictions, and the requirement of having a visa to even enter the country. Again, why making an exception just because most of the World Cup matches are in the United States? It just doesn't add up. It really doesn't. Ticketless travel for Melbourne trams has arrived. Melbourne commuters will be able to use their credit card, phone, or smartwatch across the tram network from today after ticketless travel launched on trains this month following repeated delays. Buses will get the capability next month, but the Victorian government is yet to nominate a date. Concession passengers will also need to wait until next year. The state in 2023 awarded a $1.7 billion contract to overhaul Meeki, but the program was hit by delays and cost blowouts. Melbourne has fallen well behind Sydney and other international cities in enabling credit card payments instead of tickets or passes on public transport. Trials were due to begin in 2024 but started a year later on just 4 bus routes. In Wangaratta, 2 Melbourne train lines began trailing the functionality in March. This was interrupted by free public transport in April and May, which threatened to delay the rollout. The cost of living measures introduced when petrol prices soared as a result of the United States-Israel war on Iran was then replaced by half-price fares for the rest of the year. There have been more than 700,000 taps using tap-and-go technology since the start of June, when the rest of the train network got the capability in stages. Regional stations that still rely on paper tickets will get the technology later this year. This month's rollout on trains was for all Makey-enabled train stations, covering the Metro Trains network and some regional V-Line stations. Public Transport Minister Gabrielle Williams said 4 of 5 tap-and-go trips so far were made with a phone or smartwatch. The Public Transport Users Association has called on the government to introduce a weekly tap-and-go cap that matches the cost of a weekly Meaky Pass, so that daily commuters are not inadvertently overcharged. It's I will say it is convenient for Australians to get on and off a bus or a tram. There is an issue in the event that, whilst it is important that commuters should have enough money on their card or their phone to ensure that they can travel using their public transportation system, and I'm not saying this will ever happen. In the event it does, what would happen if technology just rejects your travel regardless of how much money you have on your card? Well, who's not to say that there won't be any problems with the scanning system not letting you through, even if you have so much money in your pocket or on your card that you could just travel wherever you want, whenever you like, at any time of the day, or any day of the year. And this is not tying into the scares of digital ID or central bank digital currency. As advanced technology is getting these days, that it is important that you consider and think about issues in regards to technical problems, difficulties, and just machines not working altogether. If it does, at least. And what would happen if that is the case? Is one's commute around their city ruined? Do they have to get a taxi or call an Uber just to get by, which is going to cost a lot more than whatever the price was to even ride the public transportation system in the first place? All of these questions, and so much more, which, as important as they are, we don't talk about them because we're all under the impression that technology is good enough that there won't be any errors. We will not have any problems whatsoever. We could just get by with life no matter what. That's not the point. Even if it doesn't happen, at least in our lifetime it doesn't happen. That's not to say it won't happen one day. And imagine how much outrage we would hear from people that would use public transportation using this kind of technology, tap and go. That oh no, the machine's not working. I have so much money in my card. Why is it not let me through? Yeah, I'm just yeah. You can never be too cautious these days. And it's not all doom and gloom, end of the world, whatever. Not all technology are perfect. Not everything's going to work smoothly, as people hope. for a very, very long time, there will be problems. At some point, they will stop working. And you may have to upgrade them, you may have to replace the machines and the technological components. There will come a point where these machines that's been used for public transportation, they're going to get replaced. And even if the technology is good, it is accurate, and helps get people by in their life, there will be people that will complain that having this contactless technology is some kind of gateway of locking out people from public access, preventing people from getting place to place, maybe for austere motives, something like that. Or maybe you could say something controversial, you call a particular group of people, maybe an elite or somewhat, that what they're doing is wrong, and then one day when you're just going about your life, oh, the technology stopped working. Or at least the card you're trying to tap into to get through is not letting you through. The scanners are working fine, it's just your car that's the problem. It's not working after saying something that you shouldn't have said, something very controversial, which it was going to be said anyway. Yet you're the unfortunate victim who was locked out from getting by in your daily life. That's just me. That is just me. It may not happen with everyone. That's not to say that it won't happen to someone. Somehow. Gordon Ramsay's daughter Holly is pregnant with first baby husband Adam Patey's second. Okay, that's quite a headline. Let's see how this goes. On Saturday, Holly Ramsay and Adam Patey announced via Instagram they are expecting their first child, a baby girl due in December 2026, sharing a photograph of her baby bump. The couple who met in 2021 through Tilly Ramsay on Strictly Come Dancing officially married in a star-studded ceremony at Bath Abbey in Somerset last December. Over 30,000 people liked the announcement, drawing congratulations from Victoria Beckham and Romeo Beckham, while Gordon Ramsay wrote he is going to be a very overexcited granddad. This baby marks the first grandchild for Gordon Ramsay and Tana Ramsay, who have 6 children together, while Patey also has a 5-year-old son from a previous relationship. Gordon Ramsay dismissed previous press reports of friction between himself and Patey's parents, Caroline and Mark, as absolute nonsense, welcoming the couple into the family. That's nice. That's good to hear. They're enjoying life, they're starting a family. All in life is good. Yeah, I have nothing else to add to that. It's nice to see people doing well in life. And even if, I don't know who that person is, why should I give a damn? Okay, you don't have to give a damn, just, people enjoying life. Well, what about my family members? What about this person I know? Aren't you happy for them? Well, yeah. Even I don't know these people, it's just great to see people doing well in life. Anyway, just to conclude that story particularly, congratulations to the couple, Holly and Adam, on their first child together. I had no idea there was a second child with Adam from a previous relationship. But hey, the more you know, the more you know. So yeah, good for them, enjoying life, starting a family, and so on and so forth. Severe flood warning. No, severe flooding hits the West Island. Over 20,000 without power, roads closed by police. On Saturday, torrential rainfall from strong thunderstorms triggered flash flooding across Montreal's West Island, submerging hard and leaving about 20,000 homes without power as Environment Canada issued an orange weather warning. Meteorologists reported that slow-moving thunderstorms and ground, with reduced ability to absorb rain, intensified flooding across Laval. Pay 4. and Dorval before the system reached the south shore. In Dolard de Ormeu, resident Natasha Krauser stated she was stranded with, I'm in about 3 feet of water, while officers closed sections of Pierrefonds Boulevard to ensure safety. An emergency power shutdown began shortly before 6 p.m. in Dolard de Ormeu, while Dorval Mayor Marc Doré reported municipal teams were responding to flooding across the region. Severe weather at the Montreal Trudeau Airport delayed about 20 departing flights and cancelled 10, with officials advising passengers to check schedules as conditions improved later Saturday evening. Hopefully the residents of Montreal, they stay safe, they stay dry, and hopefully most of their property isn't damaged from the floods. I'd assume there isn't. So, now surely, can't be the first time that a flood happened somewhere in Quebec. They're going to have to resolve this at some point sooner or later. So, we'll just have to wait and see. I feel like there's more to this. Well, eventually there will be more. Just not now. Or maybe not sure when this will happen again. I hope not. Otherwise, hopefully Montreal tackles the issue at hand. Everyone is safe, they stay dry, for the most part. And of course, in terms of how they deal for next time they get flooded, it doesn't get as bad as this time round, or previous times before. And that is it for the episode.